Okay, welcome back to Office Hours with Dr. Bell. First off, let me just say there's a bit of a delay between video 2 and video 3. Kids at home, whether I went back to work, the semester started, so I didn't get this video done as fast as I wanted it to. But because of that delay, we have more news. And my guess is there's going to be news every day, like not hyperbolic, literally every day. More news about things that are happening, things that are going on. However, this is video 3 in your introduction to me. So hopefully you've watched the first two, you've liked, shared, commented on the first two, and this one is, the first or the end of the beginning. This video is, I think, in some ways more informative in terms of what we can expect going forward, but also more concerning. More concerning. Right? If you know anyone in your life, if you've had someone in your life who's struggled with addiction, if you yourself have struggled with addiction, you know that's to satiate that addiction, okay, to get your fix. Increasingly, it takes more and more and more of the narcotic, of the drug. So, half a pill might have got you high. Now that doesn't even register. Now you need two. Now you need two and a half. Right? People who smoke 2 packs of cigarettes a day, they didn't start that way. People who wake up and need a drink, they didn't start that way. Right? Eventually, our body adapts. So what did the trick 2 weeks ago doesn't quite cut it today. Now we need more. Right? We need something else to really address that craving. Right? Now, how does this work with ideology? If you've been following Republican politics pretty much since Obama, but especially since the rise of MAGA, owning the libs has been their North Star. Above anything else, above tax policy, above abortion policy, above foreign policy, above DEI. Okay? Owning the libs, liberal tears. Okay? So many memes. At this point, probably millions of memes about liberal tears. Okay? Oh my God, you're so triggered. You're such a snowflake. Like, there's a large swath of Americans who that is not their sole motivation, but their primary motivation, at least politically. In terms of political motivations, that's top dog. I think that in of itself is a sad commentary, right? But yeah, it's a free country. You can vote for whatever reason you want, right? But yeah, owning the libs is a real thing, and it's not just the voters. It's not just folks in the media. It's also elected officials, people who are supposed to be representing the interests of the country, their districts, their states, their constituencies. And their top goal is to piss off Americans whom they disagree with politically. Owning the libs. Well, like any other addiction, like any other narcotic, owning the libs just doesn't quite cut it anymore. It doesn't hit the same. Yeah, you'll post a meme here to get a whole bunch of likes, thousands of likes, and you might get some temporary dopamine hit and feel good about it, but it doesn't hit the same. Right? When talking about drugs or alcohol, then you need more of it. When your cravings get a little too big, you need more of it. Right? Well, for this, you can't own the libs. You can't do that more per se. So what's the next step? What's the next step in that process? What's the more of it when it comes to own the libs? That one's easy and quite scary. Punish the libs. Punish the libs. We are now in the phase where owning the libs is not what it used to be. It no longer gets the job done. For a growing, not all of MAGA, and certainly not all of Republicans, but for a growing segment of MAGA, punish the libs is their new North Star. Owning the libs, that's cool, that's cute, not good enough. They need more. They crave more. And this didn't start with Trump. Again, some of this was there in the past. Palin was I think a precursor to our modern moment. But I have examples. I got receipts. I got receipts of us going beyond upsetting political rivals to wanting to utilize state power to punish political rivals. And in some ways, this relates to the first two videos, but also I want this to be its own entity. So let me step back to the California wildfires for a second, which was the primary focus on the second video. I've said it a lot, so I'm not gonna keep saying the same thing. Just a devastating natural disaster, something that we haven't really seen before. We've seen wildfires, but not like this. Just a perfect storm of awfulness, and so many people are still being impacted by that, right? Speaker of the House Mike Johnson, President Trump, a litany of Fox News commentators, a litany of right-wing MAGA podcasters, right-wing reporters are saying, in the face or in the wake of this natural disaster, this perfect storm of awfulness, we're not going to help you unless you give us something in return. There are folks who want to extract some kind of concession, if not policy concession, an ideological one, in order to get federal help. Understand that the federal government, this is one of their responsibilities, their chief responsibilities, to help Americans in distress, to protect us. You can't really protect us from natural disasters. They're called natural for a reason. But you can respond to them. You can help people get back on their feet. And just to give you an example, Donald Trump, now president, says that in order for California to get federal aid, they have to pass a voter ID law. They have to pass a voter ID law. Now, a lot has been said about voter ID, and I'm sure I'll get to videos on that, right? People debate that issue. I'm more than happy to dive into that debate. However, that has nothing to do with our current wildfires. That has absolutely nothing to do with helping Californians get back on their feet, with helping the California economy get back started again, to get people some kind of shelter, relief. Understand that families have lost everything out there. They've lost everything. And this dude, the president, the most powerful person in the country, right, the leader of our country, says, unless you pass this law that I want, I'm not going to help you. Now, a few quick points about that before, more examples. One, over 6 million people in California voted for Trump. It's a blue state, to be sure. California is a blue state. But again, 6 million people in California voted for Trump. More than a lot of red states. More Trump voters in California than in a lot of red states, right? Again, I get it. It's a blue state, and that's how Trump sees it. It's a blue state. Therefore, I'll play hardball with these folks who are at their lowest point. These folks whom I'm supposed to protect and represent. Okay? Now, for Trump, it's more vanity than punish the libs. He lost California 3 times. And the reason he wants a voter ID law in order to get this aid is because he thinks he really won California every time. And the reason that he lost is because of fraud, because people cheated, because undocumented voters voted, et cetera, et cetera. So for Trump, it's vanity. But for Mike Johnson, other Congress people, folks on Fox News, MAGA influencers, no, it's screw those libs. Right? Stick it to them. This is what they get. There's so many people who are cheering this on. They see people who are struggling, who are desperate, who are crying, and they're laughing. They're happy about it. That's what you get for voting for Democrats. What? Democrats didn't cause the wildfires. Okay? Democrats didn't cause them to spread. They didn't cause the drought. They didn't cause the 100-mile-an-hour winds. Again, a perfect storm of awfulness. But for a lot of MAGA, a growing portion of MAGA, that's what you get. That's what you get for being liberal. That's what you get for being a progressive. Don't help them. Don't waste our money. Okay? Let them figure it out. This is crazy. This is crazy. It will be crazy in any context. But when you think about recent history, at the end of last year, with the hurricanes in North Carolina and Florida, parts of Georgia, etc., there were all kinds of misinformation out there. A lot of misinformation out there. From Trump to Elon to Fox News, there was a lot of misinformation out there. But one of the core pillars of that misinformation was the idea that Biden was neglecting these people because they were Trump counties. They were conservative, right-leaning counties. So Biden ignored them. FEMA was not doing their jobs because of that. Now, Biden has many faults, and he deserves a lot of blame for our current state. I think he was a good president on the whole, but where we are now, I think, yeah, he made some mistakes, some big time ones. Another video, but he would never do that. He would never. Joe's the ultimate. We gotta come together. We're America. There's nothing we can't do. Blah blah blah. Right? He's the ultimate unity guy. He would not do that. The Republican leaders of those states, to be fair to them, from DeSantis to local mayors, I forget his name, but Kane, the former WWE wrestler, they kept it real. They kept it a buck. Like the federal government's here. They're helping. They're doing their job. So this is not all Republicans, not all MAGA, not all Trump supporters. Right? Most of the leaders who were there were saying that this misinformation is wrong. It is in fact misinformation. Like they approved what we wanted right away. But the influencers, the media, and of course the then candidate Trump and Vance and others, they lied about the federal government for political purposes, not doing their job, not helping Americans just because those Americans vote differently. That was the made up, the imagined boogeyman of late 2024. And now they are doing exactly that out in the open. This is not innuendo. This is not rumor or anonymous sourcing. They're saying it to a camera. Mike Johnson said it to reporters on camera. There are several Republicans who went on TV doing interviews, said it to the camera. Okay? They're just coming out with it. We can talk about projection and all that, but that's beside the point. The bigger point, the more salient point, is that a large swath of Americans, and no doubt patriots, want to see other Americans suffer because of their political ideology. They want to see other Americans suffer because they vote differently. Hell, they may be, they may vote the same. Like the 6 million plus Trump voters in California, but they happen to live in a blue state. So don't help them. Don't help them at their lowest point. Punish the libs. And if 6 million Trump voters get caught in the crossfire, so what? That is collateral damage. That's the cost of sticking it to the libs. And it's not just Trump. It didn't start with Trump. It didn't start with MAGA or Mike Johnson. Right? This has been going on for some time now. And I'm surprised that more people aren't talking about it. Okay? Maybe they don't want to seem hyperbolic. They don't want to seem alarmist. But here's another example. And this made some news on leftist media when it happened. But it came and went really fast. Marjorie Taylor Greene, MTG, MAGA darling, she was doing an interview where she said if Democrats move to red states, hey, if you're a Democrat or you come from a Democratic state, a blue state, and you move to a red state, you should not be able to vote for 5 years. Okay? You should have your rights rescinded for a 5-year period. She was not joking. She was not, speaking in metaphors. She was dead. She made it clear that she was serious. She was dead serious. If you are a Democrat who moves to a conservative part of America, you can't vote for 5 years. You lose a constitutional right just because you vote differently. Punish the libs. Punish the libs. Owning the libs doesn't hit the same. Now they need to be punished. Another example, again, you would think this would have been bigger news. It came and it went. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis. There's multiple things I could say about this guy. He's a mini Trump. He's a wannabe Trump. He's obviously angling to be the heir apparent to Trump. He's currently beefing with his own state, his own Republicans in his own state. But 2 quick points about him. One, when he was running for president, he ran in the GOP primary and lost to Trump. He would often say that he wants to relegate liberalism to the dustbin of history. Not a direct quote, but it might be. But I'm paraphrasing just to be safe. He wants to relegate liberalism to the dustbin of history. Okay. Well, what does that mean for liberals? There's no way that we're going to have a uniform ideology in this country. There's no way that every single American is going to be conservative or liberal for that matter. So if we have a guy who wants to be president saying that we're gonna relegate this ideology to the dustbin of history, what does that mean for the people who have that ideology? Are they too history? Should they too be relegated to the dustbin of history? Can you imagine Obama or Biden or Hillary, or Harris, or even Bernie? He's a leftist. He's a leftist. Could you imagine Bernie saying we're going to relegate conservatives, Republicans, conservatism to the dustbin of history? Now, he'll say that about billionaires, but about the millions and millions of Americans who are conservative, like if a Democratic leader had that position, I would challenge them. I wouldn't vote for that person. I'm not a conservative, but people have the right to be. They have the right to be conservative, right? People also have the right to be liberal or progressive. And for leaders and folks who want to be leaders to say, your ideology has to go. This land of the free. But your ideology is not welcome here. It should be relegated to the dustbin of history. Should be big news. Should be alarming. That same Governor DeSantis, he had a press conference with a sheriff. Sheriff, cop, some law enforcement official. And the cop was talking, saying, hey, you Democrats, you liberals who move here, right? Don't move here and be you. Don't move here and think the way you think. If you come here, you do as we do. This is a law enforcement official saying this. You have to understand, right? Law enforcement officials work for the state. Okay? They're supposed to protect and serve, not manage and relegate your ideology. If you say don't come here being violent, don't come here and break laws, cool, no problem. Hey, no problem. But he didn't say that. Don't come here and be liberal. Don't come here and believe what you believe or vote how you vote. This is a law enforcement official standing next to a governor who wants to be president. Punish the libs. Punish the libs. This is the new orthodoxy. This is the new narcotic, and we got to be ready for it. Okay? I'm not talking, civil war. I'm not doing all that. Just in your day-to-day lives, understand what we're up against. Okay? This is no longer a Romney versus Obama type debate. Okay? There is a growing faction who don't want liberals to exist. Okay? Don't want liberalism to exist at all. You can oppose it, you can disagree with it, you can challenge it, and you should. But to eradicate it, okay, is that really what we do as Americans? Okay. I'll close with this because the video's getting kind of long. But back to Pete Hegseth. Back to this, our new Secretary of Defense. Again, I'm not going to dive into how he's unqualified. I've been there, done that. But there is a question of why Trump wanted him to be Secretary of Defense. He had his pick of the litter. He won the election. He won the popular vote. He won all the swing states. He a decisive victory. He could have picked anyone he wanted to, but he picked this right-wing Fox Weekend host to lead the Pentagon, to be the Secretary of Defense. Why would he do that? Why are so many Republicans who know that he's unqualified, why are they okay with that? Why are they cheering that? Because Pete Hegseth will punish the libs. He will do as Trump wants. This is not about having a more robust posture in the Pacific, or even about, pulling back spending on Ukraine. This is about using the military against the American public. Pete Hegseth will do that. Trump campaigned. He campaigned on using the military against American citizens, the enemy within. He could not have been more clear. Fox News, to their credit, they tried to clean it up for him. They gave him chance after chance to clean it up, and he wouldn't do it. He would not back down. Pete Hegseth, he will carry out that mandate. He will, in fact, use the military to punish the enemies of Trump. He's already doing it. He's barely a week since his confirmation, and he's going after General Mark Milley. Okay. I'm not even sure Milley is a liberal, but he did challenge MAGA orthodoxy. And like Fauci before him, that makes you an enemy. Like Vivi now, that makes you an enemy. He didn't back down. Milley didn't back down. And now Pete Hegseth, our new Secretary of Defense, is punishing him. He's doing it because of Trump. Okay? He's doing it because Milley went against MAGA. Hegseth will carry out Trump's mandate to use the military as his personal police force, as his personal army to protect himself, but also to go after his enemies. That's why he was selected. And that's why he was confirmed that he's doing just that. Again, we got to be honest. We have to be honest about what we're up against. What this means for organizing for our preferred candidates, for how we proceed, how we get through the age of Trump. That's to be debated. But what is not up for debate is what we are up against. We are now up against a movement who are empowered and in power that want to punish liberals. They want to punish people who do not agree with them politically. So, what do we do next? What's our response going to be? How do we move forward? Those are questions for the next video. So I'm going to stop here. I hope you enjoyed this 3-part intro to me. I have a lot more content coming. Like always, please like, share, comment below. I hope you come back. I hope you subscribe. And I look forward to hearing from you and engaging with you in the future. Deuces.